How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Monsters. This is Season 1, Episode 23, and this one's entitled Mannikins of Horror. It originally came out May 20th, 1981, directed by Ernest Farino, and stars Glynis Barber, William Prince, and Byron Brophy. And also, this is based on a short story by Robert Bloch. Robert Bloch, best known for writing the novel Psycho, so really cool to see him here. But we also saw him on the show before when they adapted his short story into the episode The Legacy. However, one really fun thing with this episode is this is not actually the first time that this story was adapted. Mannikins of Horror was adapted by the English film studio Amicus in 1972 as part of their anthology film Asylum. Asylum is a really fun anthology horror movie, all based on characters who are currently living in this asylum, and I think you should definitely check it out. The mannequins in that episode are a little more cheesy, and they did have to rework a lot of the story to make it fit into the world of Asylum, but I thought it was really fun. Although that being said, this version of the story is actually probably better, but it has a completely different feel to it, which is one reason why I like better than remakes second adaptations of source materials. When you go back to the original source material and just kind of do your own take on it rather than trying to do what the last movie did, you can get some really interesting and different perspectives on stuff, and I think that's really cool. I think that's why, like, the remake of It worked out way better than the remake of Carrie, because it was more of a second adaptation, and all the Carries that followed were just remakes of the De Palma version. But all that's beside the point. This episode itself is really, really good. I think it's probably one of the best episodes of the series, and I can definitely recommend it to anyone, because this is one of those episodes of Monsters that I got so pulled into and so invested in, I kind of forgot it was just an episode of a TV show. It felt like I was watching a whole movie that they had somehow jammed into 22 minutes. I mean, the idea itself, the idea that this guy is making tiny miniature humans that are completely 100% anatomically correct to him with internal organs and everything, and the idea that this guy is paranoid about death and is thinking that if he makes an exact duplicate of himself, he can live on? It's some cool, creepy paranoia stuff, but the movie's also set in like a 1984-esque world, and you get that sense of oppressive government and this sort of dull color scheme. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of grays as a color palette, but when they mirror the clay that this guy is making the figures from, and when you are trying to do a dull and an oppressive world, it really does work. So you get all this atmosphere, you get these compelling leads, like just how far the scientist has gone with creating these mannequins. And then on top of that, you get some pretty good special effects. When he's thinking he's seeing the mannequins move, yeah, stop motion can be pretty creepy in a certain way. And they really do get that with these mannequins, and I'm so glad they spent the time to actually give us these cool stop-motion mannequins. And then there's also other scenes that work out really well. Like, I won't spoil them, but there's a scene with an eye, and there's a scene with a hand, both of which are really, really cool and really, really creepy. I just have to say, this is a great episode. It's super original, super unique, really well made, and just absolutely had me super soaked and invested into it. And I definitely recommend it. If you only see one episode of Monsters, this is probably going to be the one. So definitely the best of the season. Can't recommend it enough. go check it out. But anyway, without further ado, I do want to take a moment to analyze the episode. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, but I do want to take a moment, break down and analyze, talk about stuff that works. I won't be discussing the end, so no major spoilers, but I do want to do a deeper dive. We open up with actually kind of an artsy opening, kind of setting the tone. We get this pin that just keeps getting hit on the table as a form of impatience, and then cut to close staring eyes. And then we see that this is all a medical evaluation for this guy that used to be a surgeon. He was a big, renowned surgeon, and he saved several people during the war. So they're trying to rehabilitate him because they think he could still be useful. As I said earlier, this is a 1984-esque world, and if you're not useful, why should we bother with you? So they're going to try to rehabilitate him, and we get these two doctors that kind of have different views on him and if they can save him. We're gonna get the stricter kind of evil doctor who's like the head of the whole hospital. And then we get the other doctor who says, I know he's eccentric, but he saved people in the war, and what he's doing isn't that bad. I think we can just go ahead and keep him. He can probably get out if he really wants to. So she starts to befriend this guy, and we can see in his room that he's making perfectly anatomically correct tiny clay versions of himself. And we get to see that he's made little tiny organs and everything to go in them, and that these clay figures, it's not just clay through and through, it's actually fully sculpted humans. And yeah, anatomically correct. I'm kind of surprised what they were able to get away with on TV back in the day, but whatever. So he's made these guys, and he says, like, during an interview later, that he feels like his organs are wanting to leave him because he feels he's dying. Granted, the doctor says you're not dying, you're in perfectly good health, you're just a little older. But he disagrees, and he says, I'm dying, I can take these, I can make a copy of myself, and I will live on in these little mannequins, and my old body will just fade away and turn to dust. And the thing is, the mannequins are really good. They're really hyper detailed, both in his skill, but also in real life. Whoever made these things, a good job. They look really good. And that's sort of the thing is, yeah, it is something that's like, it's a crazy idea. You can't make yourself live on through little mannequins, obviously. But that's where the other doctor's like, it's relatively harmless, you know? Let him do that and then get back on with his surgeon work. In fact, because he was a surgeon, that's why these mannequins are so good. But, of course, the other doctor's like, no, it's this weird thing, we got to squash it. And we can see a few shots through his eyes where we see the mannequin start to move, and we're not 100% sure, is he just seeing that? Or is his weird theory actually true? Well, eventually, we're going to force the moment to its crisis, and we're going to get things heating up in this asylum, but also with the horror element. I don't want to spoil too much of what happens later, but we do get some really good, dark, and scary sequences, and some super memorable moments. Definitely check this one out. It's a good, creepy, central idea, and a really cool Orwellian atmosphere, and all the actors do a good job portraying these characters, and I really, really love this one, so definitely recommend it. It's for sure the best episode of this season, and I can't wait to see if it's like the best overall. Hopefully we'll get some other cool episodes like this, but this one's really good. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Monsters playlist. If you guys want to see me talk about the past episodes, you should be able to find those there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.